artist needs his orchestra intro.
There you go. That was a very nice introduction. Thank you. And by the way, I love your
stage.
socks.
Thank you so much.
Wait, look at
I
those
love them
socks,
too.
folks. Yeah, very nice.
Maybe I can wash them and give it to you so you can take them to
That
your
would be very
next stop after Switzerland.
But not the shoes, thank you.
I see that you're in need of socks because I was afraid you didn't bring any clothes because I was reading that you actually lost your lovely, lovely suitcase. I was wondering, did you find it until now or did it disappear forever?
No, that one disappeared forever. It was a beautiful suitcase from Rimowa, a silver one that I had for just 15 years. That one there, similar. And it just fell apart. When I was traveling, I mean, last week I was in Poznan, Poland, doing a big concert. Then I went to London the next day and did a private show. And it was on that trip that I realized that I had to say goodbye to my suitcase. So my colleagues went to Munich and went to the Rimowa central place, and they didn't find what they were looking for. They were not treated particularly well. And so they went next door to the Kaufhof and got one. So I have a new one, a black one.
So when you're on the road and being on the road for that many years, how difficult is it to put a set list together that you and your band are going to play?
Well, tonight's set list is a shortened version because we were requested to do a certain amount of time. I'm sure we'll do more. And it's the hardest thing at the beginning of a tour to put together a set list because as an artist, I would find it very difficult to go on tour just with old songs all the time. I'm constantly making new records, and the picture that came up recently was for the new album, which is called A Better World. And so we obviously will have done some songs from that album this evening. But putting together a set list is always a big challenge. I've written around 300 songs, with words and music, across many different styles and ideas and stories and ballads and all sorts. So as you have asked me that question, yeah, it is difficult. One of the most important things is to have a band on tour that you actually get on with. I know that you will be talking to them, but we're good friends and we enjoy each other's company because you're spending a lot of time on the road, and but go out to restaurants and have a few drinks and so on. But musically, they're excellent as well.
So let's grasp a little moment of that magical musical moment on stage with your band, and let's talk about the musicians after that.
Okay.
Keep away, keep away. They are making the perfect man. Keep away, keep away, keep away. They are making the perfect man.
Unfortunately, the fans never hear enough about those great guys that surround Mr. Christopher Burgh. So I wanted to take a little focus on my talk to talk about your excellent keyboard player and musical director, Nigel Hopkins. What's the story? How did you meet him? Did you have to do an audition for that? And did you go on TV and made a big show, Chris Burgh is looking for the next musical director, and put it on all the social medias?
No, we didn't do that. I think he was referred to by a mutual friend many years ago. He's the best by a long way, best keyboard player I've ever worked with. He's a musical genius. He comes from Wales. He has performed on quite a few of my recent records. He's a one-man orchestra. He can do incredible things with his keyboard. And he also joined me on a tour about 3 or 4 years ago where it was just him and me. We did a lot of concerts together, and we are working now on my next project, which is going to be about Robin Hood. I'm actually writing a musical with some people in Fulda in Germany, but I will also have an album, and me and Nigel are working on that together.
So are we expecting Lady Marian to walk around in the woods with a red dress, maybe?
I think she doesn't wear anything in the woods. No, probably green.
Probably green, okay, because I thought like the Birds are gonna maybe sing Lady in Red very, very discreetly. Talk more about this hit, if it's rather difficult to have a huge, massive hit, and or is it helpful, or how do you sense it throughout the years, that people maybe talk first about this song and then about all the other great tunes that you did, including instrumental songs that I love a lot?
Well, it's kind of interesting because during the 70s, I was having hits in places like South America, Canada, Scandinavia, Germany, and then in the early 80s I had a big hit with Don't Play the Ferryman, American Top 40, and then High in Emotion, which was #1 in a lot of countries. Both of them strong rock songs. So my career went on a trajectory up like that. And then Lady in Red came. I had no idea it was going to be such a huge hit. And to this day, it's a massive song in America, for example. I go to Russia a lot. They love that song in Russia. It's not representative of what I do. It's just one of the things that I do. But of course, I like to perform it. And I'm very grateful that I at least will be known long after I have gone, maybe for more than one song, but that'll be one of
Oh,
them.
yes, you will, that's for sure. You played, you mentioned that before, many different stages all over the world. Was there one specific one that you said this is an absolute dream and still is? Like, for example, the Royal Albert Hall. I've never been there myself, but how is it to enter knowing that many legends played there before?
Well, the Royal Albert Hall is a monument to love, Queen Victoria to her late husband. And I've performed there, I think, 17 or 18 times. I've done several solo shows there, and that's awesome to walk out onto that stage and knowing there's people all the way up to the top, and you're about to do a 2.5 hour solo concert. That's quite a challenge, but I very much enjoyed it. But I would say possibly apart from the Royal Albert Hall, I mean, I've done nearly 4,000 shows around the world, and some of them are extremely memorable, and some of them I don't particularly want to remember in the early years. But there was a place called Ephesus, which is in Turkey. It's about 2 hours inland from Izmir, and it's a amphitheater built 300 years before Christ, and it is pretty well intact as it was then. And in the backstage area, there's these little places where the monks used to, I suppose, live and pray, little stone rooms. And beside, there's a village of Ephesus. And when we performed there, it was at night, stars in the sky, about 20,000 people. And this is where St. Paul preached to the Ephesians all those years ago, and it was on those very same stones, and it was a pretty overwhelming experience.
I can imagine. I was thinking the most outstanding stage was in Switzerland, because since you were in Switzerland now, you were performing on a lake. Do you remember? Near Davos. Here we see the stage from the
Madrisa.
From the Madrisa, beautiful.
Yep,
How was that experience for you to play there? It looks amazing.
Well, I have a very good friend called Martin Bisang, who was from Zurich, that I met many times on holidays in Mauritius. And this is his project here, and he and a colleague. It's a most amazing spot, way up in the hills. And I did a show there last year. I was the inaugural, I was the first one. That's me and Nigel. We had to take this Don't Pay the Ferryman. And it was wonderful. And of course, coming to Switzerland, I've been here many times, usually playing in the Hollandstadion in Munich, beg your pardon, in Zurich, and also in Lausanne. We're here in Lausanne tonight. And it's a place I've been coming to for very many years, and I always feel very comfortable coming here.
And I heard rumors that you tried to play the Alphorn. Is that true? I mean, we have a picture.
There it is. No, I was drinking it, actually. It was full of beer.
It's a very difficult instrument, but still it has a lot of Swiss tradition, of course.
And of course I can yodel.
Usually the echo comes back. If you stand out in the morning and you yodel out, then after a few seconds it comes back to you.
Let's like an avalanche, to be honest.
Let's take me and also the fans a little bit back in time. When you started, I guess I was only a kid. I was born in 1970, so I was wondering, was there a moment, a magic moment, where you realized something is happening, something is going on right now? My songs are getting out there. They're played on the radios. I play gigs. They call me to play more and more. The crowds are getting bigger. Was there like a moment where I said, I think I'm doing the right thing?
Well, not one specific moment, because I knew nothing about the music industry when I started. And the first album came out, and much to my astonishment, a song from the first album became a major hit in South America.
In Brazil, right?
Exactly. And I thought, right, I'm going to be a world star overnight. And of course, it does not work like that. And I worked extremely hard for years and years and years. And I won't bore people how difficult it is in a time of no internet, no access to thousands, if not millions of people just like that. You work. You go out there and you work really, really hard. And one thing about the music industry, it's built on disappointment. And things can go right. Most of the time they go wrong. So I was getting a little bit more, as like I said earlier, my career went up and up. For the first 12 years of my professional musicianship, I didn't earn any money. I just owed money all over the place. Millions of dollars, tour support, record company costs. But I was looking at the world as a globe and trying to turn lights on all over the world. And South Africa came in, #1 records, and Canada, multi-platinum. And so I could see the little lights coming on. England began. In England, you always had to have a hit record, like a single. But that eventually came. And, I've been very fortunate. I can't think of too many artists today who are going to have a career as long as mine. I actually signed for my record label, I think it was 45 years ago this week.
Really?
That's a long time.
That's amazing.
And I'm very lucky, as you'll find out, that my voice is still in good shape. I'm healthy and I have a lot of enthusiasm. But the most important thing is to have an audience there who want to hear what you're doing.
And apparently they still love to hear it. And I can't wait to see it actually tonight. I'm really excited to see you performing on stage. Do you remember, we see a picture where you receive like golden records or platinum records. Do you remember that you gave once a golden record to a very, very special person in your life? You remember who that was?
Well, I can't imagine who you're referring to, but I remember giving Tina Turner a gold record on stage in Munich, in the Olympiahalle.
No, it was Lady Diana.
Oh, Princess Diana, of course.
You were in a plane with Charles
yeah.
Branson, and
That's it.
you gave her a golden record. Do you remember what you were chatting about when you were having this small moment?
This was in an aeroplane of the new fleet for Virgin Atlantic, and they had a cocktail on board called the Lady in Red. Princess Diana, somebody I knew quite well, actually very well, and I was a surprise guest. I sang Lady in Red for her. It was her favorite song, and I gave her that. And right after that, I was going back to London from, I think, Gatwick Airport in a helicopter, and she said, "Could I come with you?" And I said, "Of course." So we went back, landed in Kensington Palace, and I kept in touch.
I read also that you were supporting Supertramp. During their tour, we have a picture of that tour, one of my favorite bands.
Yes.
How was that for you to open already in big stadiums? And how long was the performance time? Like half an hour or more?
Well, it started off just me on my own with the guitar, because we were the same record label, A&M Records, and the same management. And I was just a little guy, 20 minutes at the beginning, people whistling and booing and giving me a hard time. I mean, it's not funny to be an opening act, and I'm always very supportive if I ever have one. We don't usually have them at the moment, but I'm very supportive. And then things got better and better for me until we were kind of co-headlining in the big football stadiums across Europe and Canada. Is that me? No, that is me.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Roger Hudson rehearsing backstage. Dreamer.
That's it. Yeah, you stupid little dreamer.
Well, great song. He also comes many times to Switzerland to perform. When you were a little child, what was the music that was played in your home? What did your parents listen to?
Didn't listen to any music.
No music at all?
No, there he is, my father and mother. No, we didn't have music. I didn't really listen to music until we could hear pop music on Radio Luxembourg. That was an even very poor signal as well. But when I went to my secondary school in England at Marlborough College, I then became exposed to music from the Kinks, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and I had a guitar and I enjoyed playing it.
So I heard the Beatles have been or still are a big inspiration for your musical career. Yeah. Why is that?
Well, I think they've probably been the key inspiration to thousands and thousands of musicians because they wrote some of the most enduring songs. They had fantastic skills, but they wrote simple melodies that people can still remember. And I have, great respect for their musicianship. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I was at a TV station in London, and I saw Paul McCartney, my hero. I went, oh my God, it's Paul McCartney. And he waved at me, and I one of these things, you're waving at me. So I went to talk to him, and he said, the immortal words, he said to me, I feel as if I've always known you, but we have never met.
Wow.
And coming from your hero, and we chatted for a while, and I could name dozens of their songs that young people all over the world, Hey Jude, for example, Nowhere Man, and so on.
Long and winding road that leads into your door
Will never disappear. I've seen that road before. It always leads me here. Lead me to your door.
the wine and winding nights that rain wash away has left a pool of tears crying for the day. Why leave me standing here?
Don't leave me waiting.
Let me know the way. My favorite song. I love it.
Bravo, you're a very good piano player and singer. Well done. When I was doing the orchestra shows in the UK, I asked him to come and direct the orchestra, conduct the orchestra for that song. And when you can imagine a 44-piece orchestra and choir, and the guy who wrote the original orchestration for that song, wearing a white suit, it was an amazing moment. You showed some gold records earlier at my home. I've got dozens of awards down the years, plus about 100 gold and platinum records all around the walls of one particular room in my studio. So,
So is this your favorite place, like a place you just sometimes sit and just think, wow, it's amazing what happened?
well, there's some interesting names. U2, for example, opened concerts for me in the UK. At least, in Germany, I think. They did about 6 shows when they were on their way up, and they were the opening act, along with lovely people like Joe Cocker. Yeah, it's been a very interesting career.
Oh, yes, it is. And I think it will continue. What are your current plans this year?
This year, later in the year, I have this big tour coming up where 2 of my favorite albums we're going to do completely, all the way through, and also a lot of other favorites as well. That's going to be about, I suppose, going into next year as well, might do about 60 shows. Last time we did a world tour, we did 68 shows in 12 different countries. So this is going to be a big one. And I mentioned before, I'm writing an album and a musical about Robin Hood. So it'll be a busy time.
On behalf of everybody, of all the fans around the globe, thank you so much for coming, and
Thank you.
all the best for the future.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure. And I saw pictures I haven't seen for years, and there he is again. And you play a beautiful piano, and
Thank you so
sing
much.
beautifully, so
Thank you.
congratulations.
Chris de Burgh, thank you so much.